Hello and welcome to BBC School Report 2016 from Congleton High School in Cheshire. I'm Joe.
And I'm Altesha.
Millions of low-income households could see power bills cut after a watchdog report into the UK's energy sector.
Astronaut Tim Peake has reached the halfway point of his journey in space. He orbits the Earth 16 times a day while on board the International Space Station.
The two most successful football clubs in England will meet in the Europa League knockout stages tonight. Manchester United and Liverpool will both go head-to-head for a place in the last day of the competition, with the first leg being held at Anfield.
Also, a penguin has swum over 5,000 miles each year to see a man who saved his life. The penguin travelled from Rio Grande in Argentina to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil.
To celebrate the 10th year of BBC School Report, Dylan Asa and I have been investigating what has changed within technology in the last 10 years.
I'm Asa. And I'm Dylan, and since BBC School Report is 10, we have decided to investigate some of the changes that have affected us in the last 10 years.
So what were we doing in 2006? Well, we were 3 years old, but others were only just experiencing the potential power of social media in its primitive form, and our parents and other siblings will have been waving goodbye to the BBC flagship Top of the Pops. In 2006, people were talking on phones like these, listening to music on these, and hardly anybody had a tablet.
It seems crazy that this time 10 years ago the Wii had not even been launched yet, and Facebook's still being developed by Mark Zuckerberg. YouTube had just been born, and Instagram is currently 5 years old, making it half the age of BBC School Report. Really amazing what can change in just a decade. We spoke to some people across a range of generations and asked them what the most significant changes have been for them in the past 10 years.
Being a musician, I'd have to kind of talk about the different the advances in technology through music. So, sort of music software. People can kind of just rock up on the laptops and create number ones or masterpieces just through certain software and certain bits called sound cards to plug into their laptops. Obviously, I'm a drummer, and so drum technology has come on quite a long way through electronic drum kits and drum machines and things like that. So yeah, all things kind of music based, really, I'd say, for me.
Probably be like laptops. It'd probably be Xbox, because like it used to be all like, yeah, I can go online, but now it's changed and you can play with like PS4 players and that with Xbox or something.
Probably mobile phones for me. They've changed massively. 10 years ago, couldn't really do much on them. Just calls, texts, kind of thing. But now it's ridiculous what you can do on them.
I think probably the most is my phone, because 10 years ago you couldn't take pictures with your phone, you couldn't access the internet, you couldn't do all sorts of things, and I think that is what's changed for me the most. Yeah, I think that's the piece of technology that has changed the most, because we had computers, but the phones.
Well, the technology that's changed the most for me has got to be this little brick thing. I've been ridiculed for a long time for having a rubbish phone, and for a long time I have had one of these little rubber brick things which you could bounce and actually make phone calls. So I can get these crazy things, an iPhone, which I hated for a long time, but I've been drawn into it now because I've got a baby girl and I've seen pictures of her. But it's mad that I can now speak to my dad in Holland on my phone, on a video, and show him my little baby girl. And it's something that I never thought would ever happen. It's like Back to the Future in 1985 when they looked at the future. 2015 they had like crazy phones. This is it. We're living in it. And I don't know where it's going to go in the next 10 years, but I think it's amazing that I can have a video phone call to someone in America right now in this second, and they can show me what they're wearing and I can show them what I'm wearing. Woo, it's a tie. And that's what I think is amazing.
Technology has changed so much within the past decade, and the future is looking promising. Here are top 5 hopes for the future. know are the top 5 hopes for the future, and it's looking very promising.
I'm Asa. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Joe. On BBC School Report.
Now in entertainment, the record producer Sir George Martin, also known as the Fifth Beatle, died yesterday at the age of 90. Sir George produced over 700 records, including 30 #1 hits and in the UK and US singles charts.
And excitingly, draft scripts are in development for a new Where's Wally film, and it's been suggested that comedian Seth Rogen is attached to the project.
But what age rating could it be? Ewan, Liam and Aaron have been looking into film classification.
Today we'll be exploring film classifications in the UK. So what do we mean when we say film classification, and why is it important, and why in the age of streaming and Netflix is it needed? We start off our report by asking young people what they know about film classification and who they think decides on film classifications.
Nope.
Okay, thank you for your time. Do you know what age ratings are?
Yes, they let you know what age you should be to see a film or to play a game.
Who decides on film classifications?
I would guess that it wouldn't be one particular individual. I'd say that it is a board of officials who will regulate and review the film before it goes through a process, but I don't really know too much on this subject. So,
Do you know anything about film classification?
Film classification, isn't that the thing where they write how old you have to be to watch a film?
Okay, and do you know who decides on film classification?
I'm assuming it's some sort of something to do with government, because it's to do with age. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
So it seems that people can identify ratings, but they struggle to tell us who decides on the film ratings.
This is when the BBFC come in. The BBFC stands for the British Board of Film Classification. The BBFC is an independent, non-governmental body of which has classified cinema films since it was set up in 1912. We spoke to Heidi from the BBFC about her job. She told us about her day-to-day happenings and talked about the main purpose of the BBFC, which is to protect people.
What is the BBFC and what do you do?
The BBFC is an organisation that's been around about 100 years, and the main purpose of the BBFC is to give age ratings to films so that people know what's a PG, what's a 15 and what's suitable for children of different ages to watch. So that's what the BBFC does.
Okay. Why do you think it's important that films are given classifications?
Well, if they didn't have classifications and you just had a film to see in the cinema or on DVD or on video on demand, it'd be really hard to guess who it might be suitable for if the title didn't give it away. Some titles, especially horror films, that kind of thing, you can guess that they're probably going to be quite a high sort of age rating, but some films have titles that don't really give anything away.
Describe a typical day for someone who gives the classifications to films.
Well, no 2 days are the same. It's really exciting. My job at BBFC is as an education officer, but I'm also trained as an examiner, and it's the examiners who do the job of age rating films. We examine them, so we look at them really closely. So a typical day would be, we would open our schedule on our computers and we would see what things we had to watch that day, because it isn't just films, it's like TV box sets, it could be trailers or adverts that play before the main film in the cinema, we classify those too. Or it could be DVD extras, it could be documentaries about the making of Harry Potter or something like that. So sadly we don't get to choose what we age rate. We get given a certain amount of minutes each day. It works out to about 5 or 6 hours that we have to watch. And then we see where we're going to watch it. So if it's a film that's going to come out in the cinema, then we watch it in cinema. so that we get the same experience that the people watching it in public are going to see. So where I work in London, our building has a cinema underneath it, quite a small cinema, holds about 40 people, and then we watch a cinema film projected onto the big screen, the surround sound. If it's IMAX, we have to go and watch it in an IMAX cinema. And if we're watching it, a new film, say like Star Wars that nobody else has seen yet, then we watch it in a team of 2, so that's the minimum that would watch a new film. And what we do is we take our laptops in, and as we're watching the film, we're making notes on our laptop of things that we see happening, or things that we hear. And the idea behind that is to put down, with timings, what things might change the classification. So if we see a moment of violence in a film, or even something funny, but it could be perhaps a rude joke or whatever, that might take it out of the lowest category. So the people who put the films in for classification distributors, they're allowed to request a category. And sometimes they say 12A, PG or whatever. If they don't request a category, then we just assume the film could be a U, so the lowest category. And it will stay a U until we see or hear something in it that takes it to a higher category. So we watch the film, we write notes, and then when it's finished, obviously, we discuss it with our viewing partner. We discuss if there was a request, and can we say, yes, that would be okay at 12A, or does it need to go higher, or could it actually be passed lower? And then when we agree on that, we write our report, seeing something that could be quite upsetting for them. So I think that's the main purpose. There is a second purpose, which is also very important, which is that it's the law in this country. You can't just show films in a cinema without a rating, and you can't just sell DVDs without a rating. So the government who make the laws basically have decided that age ratings are important to help protect people who see them, particularly children. So
what is the best part of your job?
Ooh, seeing films. I love watching films. Seeing films before anyone else has seen them is quite special, obviously, although we're not allowed to talk about them if they're plot spoilers and things like that. We can't go on social media and talk about them. I think one of my favourite parts was I love going to the IMAX, the big cinema in London. And I was lucky enough to go and see and examine Avatar there. And I was on my own, so because it had already been seen for normal 2D cinema. And I went on my own, and I could pick where I wanted to sit in the IMAX, free, obviously, and just sit and watch the film on my own in this massive cinema. So yeah, that's a really special part of the job. I don't think I'll ever get tired of watching films.
And finally, what is your favourite film and why?
I've been dreading this question because it's really hard to answer, really hard. It'd be easy to ask me what are my favourite 100 films. My favourite film changes all the time, because I'll think I've got a favourite film, and then I'll see another one and think, that's my new favourite film. So my current favourite film is I watched Inside Out at the weekend, which I just thought was amazing. And I thought it was brilliant because it works well, equally well for children, I think, but also for adults watching it. There's really something for pretty much every age group to get from it, whether it makes you feel a bit sad or makes you laugh. I just think it's a really well put together and really unusual film in the type of subject that it describes, and I think they've done brilliantly with it, so that is currently my new favourite film.
So there has been a lot to say for film classification, and the main reason it exists is to protect people.
This has been Aaron and Ewan for the BBC School Report.
Heidi's job certainly sounds fun, which links us nicely to Kian and Ben's report. They've been exploring jobs and job aspirations.
I'm Ben and I'm Kian, and we are going to be exploring jobs and job aspirations. When you're a grown-up, it's one of the first things people ask you, so what do you do? And your job really is often seen as an important aspect of your life. It's estimated that the average Briton works 1,842 hours per year. So, what do people look for in their jobs, and what were people's dream jobs when they were younger? We spoke to a range of people to find out.
Young, because I really like cricket. I quite fancy being a cricketer and playing cricket. I guess the main obstacle was I wasn't actually very good at it, but I just trained and practised hard so that I could be the best I could be at it. think I wanted to be that because I just really like cricket. It was like my favourite sport. I enjoyed watching it. There were some great role models, and I just fancy being part of it, really. I think ultimately I knew I wouldn't, but I knew that I would be able to go and play for a team and just work hard, enjoy it, and hopefully get as good as I could at playing cricket.
Well, I didn't really have much idea about what I wanted to be when I was younger. I think it changed every week. One day I wanted to be a nurse, next day I wanted to be a ballerina, next day I wanted to be a train driver. It wasn't until I was really older that I had any clear idea about what I wanted to do. Well, eventually I decided I wanted to become a teacher, and it's because I'd done a lot of work with children growing up. I'd worked with youth clubs and guides, young leaders, Duke of Edinburgh, and also I liked languages and I wanted to use my languages, and at the time I was going into work there wasn't a lot you could do with languages other than teach them. Well, if I put my mind to it, then yes, I was sure I was going to become a teacher. I'd already started my A-levels when I decided, so I knew all I had to do was just carry on with my languages, go to university, work hard, and I had no doubt that I was going to make it as a teacher in the end, and I did.
I want to be a Navy helmsman because I find the sea very interesting and I get to see the world and get paid for it.
A zookeeper or a vet because I love animals and I think it could work well with them.
Probably a maths teacher.
Between a policeman and a scientist, well, between a load of stuff actually.
I want to be a truck driver because I think it would be very fun travelling up and down the UK.
And eating.
Either a history teacher or a policeman.
So it seems that sometimes what you think that you want from a job changes as you get older, and sometimes your circumstances change along with it. So it's important to remember that some people have essential jobs that are necessary classes as careers but are still absolutely vital. For example, parenthood is very much an important job.
Being a parent is about being responsible for bringing up the next generation. So yeah, although you're not getting paid, it's probably one of the most important jobs going.
As young people, we think that there is not a lot holding us back from getting our dream jobs and ultimately being happy. Here are our top tips for getting there. This has been Kian and Ben for BBC School Report 2016.
It's looking like spring has finally sprung. Here's the weather.
Welcome to the weather. I'm Liam. In the north of the UK today it's 7 degrees and quite cloudy, while in the south it's also 7 degrees and fairly overcast. While in Cheshire it's around 7 degrees with a slight possibility of rain as we progress through the day. Looking ahead to Friday, it's 8 degrees and like today, we will be expecting cloud in the north. In the south, it's looking to be 10 degrees and cloudy. And in Cheshire, we're expecting highs of 9 degrees with yet more cloud coverage. I've been Liam for BBC News Report Weather.
This has been Congleton High's BBC School Report 2016. I'm Joe.
And I'm Letitia. Thank you for watching and check out the school website for more reports.